Justice is a concept of moral righteousness or rightness based on ethics. And this would deal with rationality, the law or application of the law, the natural law, religion, or equity. Fortitude. This is also the act of being just or fair, which is the strength of the mind that enables a person to encounter danger or bear pain or diversity with courage. And this is applicable mostly where we work, where we stay, because you find that you encounter a number of challenges. You may be working in dangerous places. Sometimes it may give you physical or psychological pain. So fortitude is also one of the things that is important in maintaining morality. The cardinal or the basic virtues are natural and revealed in nature, and they are binding on everyone. There are, however, three theological virtues: faith, hope, and charity. These are supernatural and are distinct from other virtues in their object, namely God. Five attributes of God according to Thomas bring us to look at God is simple, without composition of parts, such as body and soul, or matter and form. So we say God, simple, no complexion, no nothing. He's a spirit. That's what we say. So he is perfect and lacks nothing. That is to say, God is distinguished from other beings on account of God's complete actuality, or what we may call absolute. God is infinite. Created beings are physically, intellectually, and emotionally limited, but God is not limited. God is immutable, incapable of change on the level of God's essence and character. He can't change. He's not like human beings. He cannot change because of age. He cannot change because of environment. He's immutable. And God is one, without diversification within God himself. We normally talk in the Bible, we talk about God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That is the definition of this very God. He can appear to us in any way he wants. And his appearance is not based on our need. It is based on his own will, as we said. This brings about the Reformers' rejection of the Catholic synthesis we talked about. Father of Protestant Reformation argued that church had abused its role. It involved itself in two things that were not part of the spiritual calling of the church. So he talks about salvation by faith alone, through grace. And salvation is a result into good works. But good works do not bring salvation. So there rejecting the Roman synthesis, where I think it was one of the popes, whether it was Gregory, who said that good works can allow people's condemned lives to be accepted and pass through purgatory. Or some people were convinced by involving into indulgences that they had departed brothers or relatives would be forgiven. The works of indulgence or good works of relatives would release the spirits of their dead relatives from hell. Therefore, the reformers, the fathers of the Protestant reformers, are saying that this salvation is obtained by faith alone, which is a grace that is given to us by God. And the claim here is spiritual in Revelation, that he has made us kings and priests unto God by his power. We live as priests to God. These are the true roots of ethics. Faith brings salvation through grace, and we live later on to do good works. But good works is not the beginning of ethics. Martin Luther was a reformer. He was a monk, but found no peace in pleasing God by following the rules of the Roman Catholic Church. The question was, what is peace with God? It is realization of biblical truth led him to oppose the Roman Catholic Church in 1517, and he became the father of the Protestant Reformation, as we have said, who argued that it was only faith that brought salvation. He says faith alone was enough for salvation without works. John Calvin was a reformer, French lawyer and theologian. He was inspired by Martin Luther's teaching on justification by faith and personal testimony. He dealt with ethical issues by using the Old Testament law, in which we display God's righteousness and man's sin, providing governments with means to restrain criminals, guiding the actions of believers under the power of the Holy Spirit. C.S. Lewis also followed. He was an Anglican defender of classical ethics. He defended the view that there are certain moral truths that all people and civilization agree on, and that other elements of Christian morals flow in line with supernatural view of human life. And to him he mentioned that there are three parts of morality: 1. Fair play, which brings harmony between individuals. If there is a fair deal, a fair play, a fair understanding, then harmony exists between individuals. 2. Tidying up or harmonizing the other things inside an individual. Tidying up or harmonizing within you as an individual, which I think could have been the first one, because you cannot bring harmony between you and your friend before you harmonize issues within you. 3. General purpose of human life as a whole. What man was made for. We have already talked about this one earlier. Apart from our education, apart from making families and whatever, but why were you made? Whether you were made or created, whether it is an evolutionary system as the science people say, why are you evolving to something? What for what? If you have been created, for what purpose? There should be a general purpose for humanity. You may be having a purpose as an individual, but putting humanity together, what is the purpose of our being made? And we need to think about this one. Once we find the purpose of why we have been made, why we have been created, then it will make sense. Legacy of classical Western ethics. Putting human reason into ethics thinking. Merging secular and sacred morals. The legacy, what they have brought and left behind, is by putting human reason into ethical thinking. Merging secular and sacred worlds. In ours, the sacred should influence the secular in order to form what we live by. Human nature needs divine intervention and guidance to live ethically. If there is no intervention, we shall not be living an ethical life, and life will have no meaning, because it will be based on human reasoning without any guidance. In conclusion, we say, does human reason and effort improve the ethical condition of man? Do we get better ethics when we combine philosophical and ethical thinking on morality? These are certain things we can think about. Therefore, with that one, I hope this video will enrich you and you think more and more about